a 7 in the way of a response, you can't change the first 3 because that just is. So the only thing you can change is your response. That's the only thing you have power over. That's the only thing you have control over. So if you want your interaction with your student to be a better reaction or a different reaction or a more positive reaction, then the only thing you can do to change that is your response. And then you might get a different outcome. Harriet Lerner wrote a book called The Dance of Anger that is a wonderful book if you want to kind of understand how to work with anger. And she talks about a relationship she had with her mother when she would walk in the door. Her mother would say the usual, and then she would respond with the usual, and before they knew it, they were arguing the usual. And it was pretty predictable. And then finally somebody said, well, have you ever thought about saying something different to your mother? So she did. And her mother said, what's wrong with you? You know, it's like, where'd my daughter go and who are you? And what she realized was that her mother then started saying something different. And it's kind of like dancing the two-step. You know, if you're dancing the two-step, the other person needs to also do the two-step. But if you suddenly do the three-step, they either have to stop dancing with you or do the three-step. So the only thing that you can do differently to make the situation different is to change what you say, change your response. In trauma-sensitive model, it recognizes that all behaviors are perceived as combative, behaviors are often perceived as combative or reflecting a lack of motivation. Oftentimes we see our students as combative. We see them as really not caring. They really don't care about this. They just want an easy ride. They just want a free ride. But what they're actually doing is they're reacting to fear, and they're trying to survive. And sometimes, one of the things that we talk a lot about in my department is what is the backstory? What's underneath the behavior? What is underneath what they're doing? I can't always fix it, but sometimes it just helps me to step back and take a breath before I say something, because they don't know me well enough to be as angry at me and to personalize it to the degree that they are. Most of the time, the anger is institutional. They're angry at the institution. They're angry at a bigger picture, and they're in a survival mode. What are some of the survival mode places or survival places that students that you know go into? What are some things that happen for them?
Anger, frustration.
Okay. And what are they trying to survive? What is their fear? Failure. What else?
Not being understood.
Not being understood, which translates to there's something wrong with me. What else?
Self-esteem, then, if you say that.
Self-esteem.
They disengage.
They disengage. Yeah. Yeah. But do they really disengage? No, they just kind of simmer, don't they? Anybody else?
They often become accusatory or blaming.
Blaming. And what?
They feel alone in their situation.
They feel alone. And for many of them, what does this mean? Okay, what does it mean if they fail their class?
They lose their financial aid.
And if they lose their financial aid, what happens?
They can't survive.
They can't survive. They don't have a place to live.